I'm so excited to be here with my good friend Chrissy. We're going to be sharing more about the mission of A Seat at the Table. Chrissy, thank you so much for taking this time.
Thanks for asking.
To chat with me. You know, I've been a big fan of A Seat at the Table. I'd love for you just to start with to share a little bit more about what it is.
Okay, all right. So A Seat at the Table cares for 18 to 25-year-old young adults who lack the resources to get themselves from 18 into independent, healthy adulthood. So these are kids typically who maybe have a single parent, maybe have come from poverty. Sometimes they are homeless and or coming out of group homes, sometimes foster care. But they're also kids who have been identified as just go-getters. They're strong lead kids, they're high moral character, they're scholars, they're determined to live this life in a good way, but they will lack the resources to get there from the age of 18 when a lot of the youth resources start to trickle away.
So what do you feel like right now for people that could be watching this, what do you feel like is the biggest need?
Oh gosh. I think our biggest need are people with like hearts. I think the hardest thing that we have in front of us is the challenge of finding other parents and families who are willing to invite a kid that's not their blood into their home and take the risk of putting a family around a kid who needs one in that season. And I would say that my husband and I, our experience has been so joyful. There's so much reward. I think parents are nervous about a disruption of their own life, or what if the kid gets into trouble, or what if our peace is disturbed?
Or for me, sitting on the outside listening to you, it sparks an interest and it sort of pings my heart, but I think, I certainly don't have it all figured out. I mean, I'm not perfect. I wouldn't know how to help somebody through everything. Maybe I'm not even qualified or trained to do such a thing. What would you say to that?
Well, first of all, neither were we.
Love that.
And when this sort of vision to enlarge this mission began, that was a lot of the question we were asking ourselves. We don't know how to start a nonprofit. We don't know that we have the qualifications. And I would just say, are you human? Can you love a kid like that? Do you have a family? What is it that you do have that you can give? The other thing I would say to that is that we will help. Bob and I will provide coaching. We will connect you with the resources that kid might need, right? So your primary responsibility in that is to provide a home and meals and presence. That's it. Those are the main things. And then we'll come alongside, help to resource you, help to make sure that kid is properly assessed and gets hooked up with the resources that they need. One of the, there are studies out there along the lines of this concept called Connected by 25.
Okay.
That have measured what are the connections that kids have when they hit adulthood and independence, and those
like community? Are we saying like our community, the people around us, the people that they surround themselves with?
Employment networking, faith communities, family, mentors, that sort of thing. When a kid is set up by the age of 25, when they have those proper, appropriate connections in place, their chances of success in life just soar. When they don't, the chances of success plummet. The kids end up doing, they're working fast food, or sometimes they do desperate things because it's about survival. So
you know what that just reminded me of? I was listening to Sean Acor the other day, and he said the biggest predictor of your longevity in life is your social connection and relationships that you have and what community you belong to. And I don't know if a lot of people have talked enough about that, that everybody wants to feel like they belong to something.
Yeah, and when we don't, we suffer for it. And so so a lot of what we're doing with the seat at the table, our goal is not for them to come in at 18 and stay until they're 25 for 7 years. The goal is 2 or 3 years for us to be able to connect them with others that are going to continue to walk with them into adulthood, right? And get them to a point where they're ready for independence. One of our residents now is about ready to graduate out. And so he came in having already achieved a degree in school, but not getting on his feet. And
like as far as a job?
Employment and the ability to be independent. He was still living at home. And he, since he's been living with us, got a part-time job in his field, then a full-time job in his field. Then he bought his own car, so he's got his own transportation now.
I think I know who
he's ready to go.
Because I follow, we're friends on Facebook, and I love his stories.
There's so many stories like that. And I think if we can just support them for these last few years, these kids that have such potential and they're ready to go, and multiple people and agencies have already been pouring into them. So for us, if we can just pick up the baton and help them the next, and maybe find a leg of that journey of childhood where we can launch them into healthy adult independence.
So you already mentioned one of the needs that you guys have is about other people who would be willing to step into this space. If you're someone that doesn't feel like that's at a point that you're at, what other needs, if someone wanted to contribute or be involved, what would you?
I feel like there are just myriad ways that someone can contribute. Obviously financially, that is always a need. There's an ongoing monthly budget, and we've just had to double it as we opened our girls' house. We had our first young woman move into our girls' house in Ferguson yesterday.
I saw that.
Really celebrating that. So
and we'll share a link so that people can donate.
So that's great. Sometimes there are physical needs, but what I've said to people before is, what is the gift that you have? How can you share it? Are you a financial expert? Come and show a kid how to balance a checkbook or run a budget,
and
right?
Be present and teach.
Do you know how to cook? Would you teach a group of girls to cook a dinner? Would you help them to plan a menu? I've got 2 boys in the house that love to cook, and 2 that are like, I don't know what to do. You know, so trying to just give them what are some simple meals that they could create when they are moved out.
Wow.
So what is the gift that you have, and how can you use it to pour back into this younger generation?
That is so beautiful, Chrissy. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me today.
Thanks for having me. This is an honor and a pleasure.